Today we're going to explain what is performance theater.
Performance theater is a form of live artistic expression that focuses on experimental and conceptual performances, often moving away from traditional storytelling.
It blends different types of art: visual arts, dance, music, poetry, and even everyday activities, creating an experience that goes beyond what we see in classic theater.
The focus isn't always on characters or plot. Instead, the emphasis is on the act of performance itself, the connection with the audience, and the messages being conveyed.
It often challenges the boundaries of what we consider theater. Sometimes it doesn't even take place on a stage. It can happen in the streets, parks, museums, or any public space.
The audience's role can change. Instead of just watching, they might become participants in the performance, shaping its outcome.
The roots of performance theater can be traced back to the early 20th century, with movements like Dadaism and Surrealism, where artists rejected traditional norms in favor of chaos, spontaneity, and unpredictability.
One of the earliest examples was the Dada movement in Zurich during World War I. Artists like Hugo Ball created performances that broke away from conventional art forms, using nonsense poetry, random sounds, and abstract visuals.
In the 1960s and 70s, performance theater really took off during times of political and social upheaval. It became a tool for activism, self-expression, and public engagement. Artists want to break the separation between art and life. They created pieces that directly involved the audience and reflected the issues of the time, like civil rights, feminism, and anti-war movements.
Staring at Cassandra all the time. Anyway, one day my mom sat me down and she was like, "Just wait. You'll see, your time will come."
Performance theater, an in-depth exploration. Performance theater, often referred to as performance art or experimental theater, is a dynamic and multifaceted form of artistic expression that transcends traditional theatrical conventions. Rooted in avant-garde movements of the 20th century, performance theater challenges the boundaries between different art forms, merging elements of theater, dance, music, visual arts, and multimedia to create immersive and often thought-provoking experience. Unlike conventional theater, which typically follows a structured narrative and relies on script dialogue, performance theater embraces spontaneity, improvisation, and audience interaction as fundamental aspects of its artistic language. Origins and influences. The origins of performance theater can be traced back to early 20th century avant-garde movements such as Dadaism, Surrealism, Futurism, and the Bauhaus movement. These artistic movements sought to break away from traditional aesthetic norms, favoring experimentation and radical new approaches to artistic expression. Dadaists, for example, used absurdity and anti-art gestures to challenge societal conversions, while Surrealists explored the subconscious and dreamlike imagery in their performance.
In the mid 20th century, happenings, a term coined by artist Alan Caprow, emerged as a precursor to modern performance theater. Happenings were unscripted, often participatory events that blurred the line between performer and audience, emphasizing the ephemeral and unpredictable nature of performance art.
Around the same time, artists like John Cage, Merce Cunningham, and Yoko Ono introduced elements of change, improvisation, and conceptual art into their works, further expanding the definition of what performance could be. Characteristics of performance theater. Unlike traditional theater, which is often rooted in realism and structured storytelling, performance theater is characterized by several key features that distinguish it as a unique artist practice. Interdisciplinary nature. Performance theater integrates multiple artistic disciplines, including dance, music, spoken word, film, sculpture, and technology. This fusion creates a rich and layered sensory experience that engages audience on multiple levels. Non-linear or abstract narratives. Many performance theater works reject conventional storytelling in favor of fragmented, abstract, or symbolic narratives. These approaches allow for great artistic freedom and invite the audience to interpret the performance subjectively.
Number 3. Audience participation and immersion. A defining characteristic of performance theater is its interactive and immersive nature. Audiences are often invited to participate in the performance, breaking the traditional passive observer role and becoming an integral part of the artistic experience.
Audience participation and immersion. A defining characteristic of performance theater is its interactive and immersed nature. Unlike conventional theater, where the audience remains a passive observer, performance theater often invites, provokes, or even requires audience participation. This interaction can take many forms, from direct engagement, such as the audience members being asked to move, speak, or make decisions that influence the performance, to more subtle forms of immersion, where the spectators are physically surrounded by the performance space. Some performances take place in a non-traditional venues, such as abandoned buildings, public spaces, or galleries, further blurring the boundary between art and life. This site-specific approach enhances an immersive experience, making each performance unique to its setting and movement in time. Improvisation and ephemerality. Another fundamental aspect of performance theater is its reliance on improvisation and ephemerality. Unlike scripted plays with rehearsed dialogue and fixed blocking, performance theater often involves in real time, allowing spontaneity to shape the final outcome. This means that not two performances are ever exactly the same, as they are influenced by the performance choices, the audience reactions, and the external environmental factors.
Many performance artists embrace the idea that their work is temporary and unrepeatable, emphasizing the fleeting nature of live performance. This stands in contrast to traditional theater, where productions can be replicated night after night with minimal variation. The ephemeral quality of performance theater challenges conventional notions of performance in art, aligning it more closely with conceptual and contemporary art practices.
The body as medium and message. In performance theater, the performance body is often the central artistic tool. Movement, gesture, voice, and physical presence become primary means of communication, sometimes replacing or introducing the importance of spoke dialogue. Many artists use their bodies to convey intense emotions, explore personal or political themes, that test the limits of endurance and vulnerability. For example, the works of Marina Abramovic, one of the most well-known performance artists, frequently involve pushing the human body to extremes, enduring pain, exhaustion, or prolonged stillness to explore ideas of presence, endurance, and audience connection. Similarly, Pina Bausch's Dacia Theater, dance theater, blends expressive movement with theatrical elements to movement create deeply emotional and evocative performance that transcend language. Themes and social commentary. Performance theater often serves as a platform for political, social, and philosophical commentary. Many artists and theater companies use performance as means of questioning power structures, exploring identity, and addressing present social issues such as race, gender, environmental concerns, and human rights. For instance, the works of Guillermo Gómez Peña frequently challenge colonial histories and cultural stereotypes, while Anna de Vere Smith's documentary style performances interviews real people and then embodies their voices and gestures on stage, creating a powerful reflection of societal struggles. Similarly, Bertolt Brecht's epic theater techniques, such as direct audience and address to alienation effects, have influenced performance artists who seek to provoke critical thinking rather than passive consumption. In contemporary performance theater, artists explore themes such as identity and representation, exploring race, gender, sexuality, and cultural heritage through personal and collective narratives, environmental and climate issues, raising awareness about ecological crises, sometimes through site-specific performance in natural landscapes. Globalization and migration, addressing displacement, borders, and cultural hybridity, often incorporating multilingual and cross cultural elements. Technology and the digital age, examining the effects of surveillance, artificial intelligence, and social media on human interaction. One striking example is the Wooster Group, a New York based experimental theater company known for integrating video, live performance, and fragmented narratives to construct historical and contemporary issues. The role of technology and multimedia in performance theater. In the digital era, performance theater has embraced technology and multimedia as essential components of storytelling. Artists and companies incorporate video projections, live streaming, virtual reality (VR), and interactive digital elements to create innovating and immersive experiences. For example, Robert Lepage Ex Machina combines climatic techniques with live performance, transforming theater into a multimedia spectacle. Similarly, Blast Theory, a UX-based performance collective, uses mobile technology and online participation to engage audience beyond the physical performance space. The integration of technology has also led to telepresence performance, where actors perform remotely and interact with audience or fellow performers in real time via screens and digital platforms. These new models of performance challenge the traditional idea of presence in theater and expand the possibilities of audience engagement. Site-specific and immersive performance theater. One of the most radical departures from traditional theater is the rise of site-specific and immersive performances, where the performance's environment is integral to the artistic experience rather than being confined and procession stage. The performance takes place in unconventional locations such as abandoned buildings, creating atmospheric, haunting narratives that interact with decade and history. Public spaces, turning streets, subways, or marketplaces into performance arenas. Museums and galleries, blurring the line between visual art and live theater. Virtual and augmented reality spaces, expanding storytelling into digital realms. One of the most famous immersive theater productions is Punch Drunk Sleep No More, an adaptation of Macbeth staged in a multi-level building where audiences roam freely, choosing which scenes and characters to follow. This non-linear approach allows for highly personalized experience, making each spectator's journey unique. Performance theater in the 21st century, the future of live art. As performance theater continues to evolve, it remains a fluid and boundary-defined art form that challenges traditional notions of storytelling, audience engagement, and realistic expression. The future of performance theater is likely to be shaped by expanded digital and hybrid experiences, blending in-person and virtual performances, increased interactivity, and AI-driven performance, using artificial intelligence to generate real-time responses, greater accessibility and global reach, utilizing technology to make performance theater more inclusive and widely available. New explorations of sensory experiences, incorporating elements such as smell, taste, and haptic feedback. Despite its ever-changing nature, the essence of performance theater remains rooted in experimentation, presence, and the ephemeral beauty of live performance. Whether through imitate one-on-one encounters on large-scale multimedia spectacles, performance theater continues to push the boundaries of what theater can be, ensuring that the art form remains relevant and revolutionary in the years to come. This was our documentary. The team are Alexa, Sam, Dani, and Soto. Thank you for listening, and if you have any doubt, just contact us and we will explain to you what is performance theater. Thank you.
It's